welcome back to Baron's Den for the next roster update. And today we're tackling Nurgle. And Nurgle, famous for their gribbly disgustingness, but also famous for being one of the more challenging teams to start out a league with, or even enter a tournament with. They have potential, and they can become an absolutely monstrous team at high TV. But at low TV, they do tend to struggle a bit. And I think Blood Bowl 2020 may have even nerfed them more than they already were. And they didn't come out of that 2016 to 2020 update. They didn't come out of that well. So let's find out whether it's happened again, whether they're still pretty tough, or actually, have they improved? Let's find out. Okay, so Nurgle, Rotter, Lineman. The big headline coming out of Blood Bowl 2016 into 2020 was they'd been nerfed to Edge 4+. I wondered whether they'd go back to Edge 3+, and they haven't. So they are the same as they were, but they're actually 5k more expensive. But they do get devious skills. And I think if you were to ask the average Nurgle player, would they be okay going up 5k but getting that primary access to devious, fouling, nasty skills? I think they'd probably take you up on that. So overall, not too bad. They're still movement 5. They're still strength 3. They can pass the ball on a 6+, which I think they could before. I haven't highlighted it, so let's just double check that that's not a mistake from me. They could pass before, yeah. And agility and strength on secondary. Elite skills, where they hurt these? Not necessarily. You could go wrestle with the lineman. There's not a lot else you really want to do with these guys. So no, I think they'll be okay. So overall, maybe even a slight improvement. The Pestigor. Okay, this is the headline news. They've gone from 0 to 4 to 0 to 2. I'll be honest, when the positional change first appeared on the Warhammer community website, and obviously it had long been rumoured as well, after orcs and humans, the next team I worried about were Nurgle. I was really worried about them because when I play Nurgle, the Pestigors are the only things that can pick up the ball and should do something with it. And that's going down from 4 to only 2 potential ball carriers worried me. But let's see what's happened. So they've actually become cheaper. They're 5k cheaper. They have got devious on secondary, but that's not that important. They are still movement 6, strength 3, edge 3+, passing 4+, armor 9+. They've got general mutation and strength access, which is really good because some beastmen have lost their strength access. So these aren't your linemen, though, I suppose. These are your positionals. So having strength access on them is pretty good. And with the bloaters having it as well, and the Rotspawn, you've got a lot of strength across this team. But the good news is their skills and traits, they've same horns, plague ridden, and regeneration, but they now gain steady footing and thick skull. And that's just going to be a really annoying player to play against because steady footing, every now and then, is going to save this Pestigor, not only from when it's blocked, but also if it chooses to dodge away or dodge into a cage or something like that. It's got the steady footing to help try and keep them up. And if you've got a few rerolls, then that might work for you. So yes, you've lost 2, but the 2 that you've got have definitely got better. And I've mentioned about the fact that these would be your only players that you could reliably pick up the ball with. The Rotters do not have unsteady, so they can actually carry the ball as well. So if you wanted to, you could always pick up with a Rotter and use the Pestigors as well as blitzers and ball sackers, and you could actually carry on a Rotter if you really wanted to, which wasn't really an option in Blood Bowl 2020. The Bloater. So the Bloater has also got a bit cheaper. It's got devious on secondary, so it's movement 4, strength 4, edge 4+, passing 6+. It could pass before, so it's not got any better at it. Armor 10+, general strength mutation again and primary, so really good skill trees to get into. And then it's got all of its old skills plus stand firm, which is amazing for a Bloater to make them incredibly annoying, and unsteady, which means you cannot carry the ball on these guys using secure the ball. So overall, they've improved as far as I'm concerned. Really, all 3 players we've seen so far have improved. The Pestigor and the Bloater more so than the Rotter, but being cheaper, gaining stand firm is wonderful. And then you've got the Rotspawn. Now, the Rotspawn on the whole has stayed the same. Movement 4, strength 5, edge 5+, passing 6+, armor 10+. A cost of 140. You've still only got primary strength access. You've lost agility access altogether now. So you won't be putting dodge on this player, but I don't know how many people were doing that anyway. Or sidestep. Sidestepping Rotspawn, horrific. But it's still got mutation on secondary, and obviously it's got its general on secondary as well. But look at this. It's got all of its old skills, plus this one's incredible. Pick me up. Now, for those of you who haven't played as Norse or played against Norse, pick me up is an ability where at the end of your turn you can roll a 5+, and anybody within, I think it's 3 squares of the player with pick me up, can pick up those players on a roll of a 5+. And that skill is on the beer ball. Now, a couple of things to bear in mind with pick me up. First of all, 5+ isn't an easy dice roll to make, but you've got a 1 in 3 chance. So if you've got 3 players on the floor, not stunned, just prone, you've got a reasonable chance to expect one of those at least to get up. And of course, you could get lucky and get all 3 of them, but you should be getting 1 out of 3 players getting back up again. Now, a team like Nurgle not necessarily going to have as many players on the floor as Norse have. Another thing to consider is that the beer balls, you wouldn't necessarily always have them on the pitch because they are fragile, and you'd rather at times have your raider lineman. So that skill wouldn't always be used. On a Rotspawn, if you've bought a Rotspawn, you're always going to be playing him. And the other issue with the beer balls, that it's a nice little ability, but the beer balls can get eliminated if you're not careful fairly easily, and they can be out of position. Whereas with the Rotspawn, he's going to be bang in the centre of the field. He's not going to be moving much, and he's not going to be removed from the pitch. So his little field of pick-me-up should be active throughout most of the game. So that's really going to be useful. And on top of that, can you imagine with your unsteady Pestigors and your stand firm Bloaters, when you finally get these players on the ground, the Rotspawn just picks them back up again? I think it's amazing. I think of all the skill changes, this one isn't necessarily the best. It's not going to break the game, but it's the one I just love because it makes sense. Because that Rotspawn, its little tentacles coming out, it's just grabbing one of its mates and picking him back up again. Such a really clever addition to this team, because it's not gonna they're not gonna run away with things because of it, but it's just a nice little buff for them, and it does mean that I think Nurgle might become the new Dwarves, the team that no one wants to play, because with stand firm, with steady footing, with pick me up on the Rotspawn, plus they're already annoying anti skills of disturbing presence, foul appearance. This could be the team that no one wants to play against, but great fun for the Nurgle players. So I'm happy for them. They've had it rough for a few years now. I think that's brilliant. So the additional rules, they're still 60k. They are Chaos Clash, Favoured of Nurgle, Brawling Brutes, so that's good for them as well. So they'll be able to accrue star player points on their bloaters quicker for getting 3 SPP for casualties. And then, so onto the pros and cons. So let's do the cons. Obviously, the worst aspect of this is they've lost 2 Pestigors, which is a big blow. There's no doubt in that. They've got unsteady bloaters. Again, it would have been nice if you could carry on them with a 2+, but they're not very quick and they'd be easy to mark, so it's not the end of the world that you can't. Cost increase on the Rotters, I think, is mitigated by the cost decreases on the Pestigors and bloaters, so it's not a huge issue. And Rotspawn loses agility access again. Not a massive issue, because there aren't going to be too many people who are throwing agility skills on their Rotspawn before. Right, but the pros, primary devious access to Rotters. I think devious access, I think the devious skill tree, whilst exciting at first, probably won't be as good as people maybe initially thought, or maybe I initially thought, especially with things like Sneaky Git taking a bit of a nerf. But you're still going to want access to it, I think, on your cheaper players. So it's good that the Rotters have got access to that. They can get Stand Firm, not Stand Firm. They can get Sneaky Git, Dirty Player, put your boot in, and become little fouler machines. One of them you could give Lone Fowler to. So yeah, I think that's good for them. Stand Firm Bloaters, amazing. As somebody who plays a lot of necromantic horror, I love my flesh golems and their uniqueness for starting with Stand Firm. It kind of bugs me now that the Bloaters have got it, because they're almost better now because they've got a load of other stuff as well. They don't have Thick Skull. My flesh golems have Thick Skull. But they do have foul appearance, so yeah, I think bloaters are better than flesh golems now, which is sad. But anyway, I do appreciate stand firm on a player. Cost decreases to the Pestigors and bloaters. I kind of mentioned that kind of offsets the cost increases to the rotters. The Rotspawn having pick me up is just my favourite change in the whole of the third season of Blood Bowl, I think. Not necessarily the best one, but my favourite one. It's just funny. It's brilliant. And Steady Footing and Thick Skull on a Pestigor. So I believe Nurgle have got better. I genuinely believe all of this stuff outweighs losing 2 Pestigors, and this stuff is not really much of a concern. Now, Nurgle players might disagree. They might say, no, it's game over. We've lost 2 Pestigors. A bit like lots of Skaven players have said about the Gutters, and lots of human players have said about the Blitzers and the Catchers. And it is. I can't say that it's a good thing, because it's not. But I do think all of this means that there's things you can do with this team now, and they're going to be incredibly hard and annoying to play against. I think there still will be a tricky team to pilot in the early days, but I just think they're going to be better. So where does that place them? Over here, I think they've probably had a bit more of a glow up than Wood Elves, but still perhaps not quite as much as the Goblins. Yeah, and I think Nurgle, it's about time, really. I don't see them leap. I mean, if we're going with the 4 tiers, I think, in this version of Blood Bowl, I'd still see, and if 4 is the stunty teams, I don't know if Nurgle is still tier 3, or maybe they've gone into tier 2. They're not going near tier 1 yet. But if you're playing a league long enough, or you're in a ladder, this team will be gross at high TV, because they've still got all of that strength access. They are going to balloon in team value when you start putting Mighty Blow of Guard on a lot of these players, but at that point you can give away a bit of inducement and cash, because you've got so many star player skills as well, that you're just going to be a nightmare to play against. So good for the Nurgle players, I say. Anyway, that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed that one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.